In this video, we're gonna go over one of my favorite tricks that I like to use with all the pro athletes that I work with to get their calorie intake up to make sure that they're fueling properly and performing maximally on the basketball court. So when it comes to nutrition for basketball players, one of the most common mistakes I see literally all the time, like 99% of the hoopers, I say 99% because one of the guys that just started working with me was actually not under eating, but the vast majority of the time, hoopers are under eating calories. Correcting that can be a little bit tough. For example, I had one basketball player, I've mentioned him a couple times here on the channel. He's 6'9", 240. You know, if you've watched my stuff, I've mentioned him a couple times. Came to me, he was eating 1,800 calories. At 6'9", 240, with the activity level that he was under during his basketball season playing professionally overseas, he should have been eating close to 4,500, if not more, calories. We eventually got him up to 5,000. With that being said, that transition can be tough because if you're so used to eating that little amount of calories, your appetite's not going to be as great. So we're not going to make that jump right away. And even sometimes making a small jump from like 1,800 to 2,500 or even to 2,200 can be a little bit tough because you're so used to eating such a small amount. So one of the things I love to implement, besides using liquid calories and smoothies, it's a fairly obvious one. I touched on that in one of the muscle building videos I did recently. I'll link it in the description below. But besides that, one of the hacks I love to use is implementing more calorie dense foods. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, certain foods, it's easier to eat a smaller total volume and get a larger amount of calories. Think peanut butter versus lettuce. Lettuce, not very calorie dense. Most of it's water. You can eat a ton of it and struggle to get 50 to 100 calories worth of lettuce. Peanut butter, you take 2 spoons and you just down 400 calories. Think about that. Now, for a lot of people, that's a struggle, especially general population fat loss clients, because they need to eat less calories. But as a hooper, you need to eat more calories. So we can take that mentality, flip it around, and use it to our advantage. There's 2 ways we can do this. Number 1 is to maybe increase the amount of fat that you're eating without sacrificing the amount of carbs that you're eating, because remember, they're your fuel for performance. So if you're already eating a decent amount of carbs and you still need to get total calories up, but you're struggling, something you could do in the short term is instead of increasing carbs again, because carbs are less calorie dense, they have 4 calories per gram, fat has 9 calories per gram. So instead of increasing carbs again, you can increase fat. And that's gonna help you get your total calories up a lot easier. Eventually, you'll wanna shift that ratio to the optimal carb to fat ratio, like I discussed in one of the earlier videos on the channel. But in the short term, that could be a good solution because the biggest driver of your performance is gonna be your total calories. Obviously, we want to fuel with the proper amount of carbohydrates, but assuming you're already eating a decent amount, if you're super low carb, we're gonna wanna up carbs regardless. But if you're eating a decent amount of carbs, we can sacrifice that for the short term, increase fat a little bit because it's more calorie dense. It'll be easier for you to get your total calories in and support your athletic performance. And then eventually when your appetite adjusts, we can shift that ratio to a more optimal carb to fat ratio. Another way to get around this in a way that allows us to increase carbohydrate intake is to opt for lower fiber carbohydrates. Fiber is a specific type of carbohydrate that is very satiating. It keeps you full, and that's great, again, during a fat loss phase, and it's great for overall health. You need it for gut health, keeps you regular so you don't get constipated, not fun. You wanna make sure you get fiber in your diet, but in large amounts, it can be very satiating and it can prevent you from eating a lot of calories, which again, can be a good thing in some situations, but in our situation right now, we wanna get calories up, so it can be kind of a double-edged sword there. So something you could do is add in some more lower fiber carbohydrate sources. My favorite for this is white rice. I love to add white rice into my smoothies. I love to add white rice with my meals. It's great because it's a pretty healthy carbohydrate source and it's also very low fiber. It's very easy to eat in large amounts without feeling bloated and stuff like that. Now, if you're someone who has a stomach that can handle it, your stomach's not that sensitive. Like for me, if I were to go have a bunch of processed foods, my stomach just wouldn't feel good. But if you're someone who that doesn't really affect that much, and there's a spectrum there, but if you're someone who can eat some candy or some more processed foods and feel fine, you could also potentially go that route. I would be careful there. So for example, I know I touched on the 80-20 rule in the last video. You can kind of shift that 80-20 rule to more of a 70-30, or even in some cases, maybe a 60-40 rule of whole unprocessed foods to processed foods, just to make it easier to get more calories in, because it's a lot easier to eat large amounts or large calorie totals of processed foods that they're engineered to make you want to eat more. So that could be a strategy again that we use. I would use that one with caution. If you have any questions about your situation, just let me know in the comments below. Shoot me a DM on Instagram and I would love to help you out. So let me know in the comments down below, are you using any of those 3 strategies? Let me know. I'd love to help you out. Let me know any questions you have. And of course, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for new videos every single Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I will see you in the next video.